So welcome to the masterclass on the Van Gogh technique. So let's get to know a little bit about Van Gogh, the artist. Van Gogh was an artist that was born in Netherlands in the 1853. Earlier on, he was not an artist in the beginning. He was an art dealer. Later on, became a preacher. And then later, he got into art in his late 20s. He had a very brief artistic career, only of 10 years. Even though it was only 10 years, it was a highly productive 10 years. He created almost 2,000 artwork during that time. Next, going on to his style, it was very expressive and emotional style of work that he created. There was a lot of bold textures, impasto techniques, and the colors that he used were very bold and vibrant. However, he struggled with a little bit of mental health issues as well as financial issues. And these can be seen in a few of his work emitting his emotions. Even though during his lifetime he could only sell one painting, he became more prominent after he left this earth. So if you want to know a little bit more about Vincent van Gogh, you can go watch the movie Loving Vincent. It has been beautifully and artistically portraying his life. Now, what do we study in this masterclass? So we'll study color palettes that he used, the brush strokes and tools that he used, and the painting process from start to finish. Now let's get into Van Gogh's color palette. If you want to get an in-depth knowledge on how to know about the color theory, we have a special course, Color Mastery for Beginner Artists. You can get hold of that course, go through it, and learn more about it. So what is peculiar about the colors that Van Gogh used? He used very vibrant and bold colors. So Van Gogh was renowned for his bold use of highly saturated hues. Each color held emotional significance and was applied with purpose. So some of the key colors that he used were yellow, that represents light, life, and warmth. So Van Gogh's Sunflower, you can see, this painting, he used a series of chrome yellow to capture the sunlight's warmth and vitality. Coming on to the next color that he uses, ultramarines and cobalt blues. They dominated in his works like the Starry Nights, representing the vastness of the night sky and the sense of melancholy. Then going on to oranges, he often paired it with blue, like featured in his landscape like the cafe terrace at night to create a warmth in contrast with the cool blues. Going on to the greens, in the natural scenes like the olive trees, various greens are layered in to convey the vibrancy of life. Going on to red, he uses sparingly but intensely in his works like the portrait of Dr. Gatchett to symbolize passion, intensity, or anger. Going on to complementary colors. So Van Gogh often employed complementary colors to create dynamic visual tension. We can see how he used yellow and violet in his artwork Isis. Here we can see the use of yellows and violets to create a stark contrast. Going on to the cafe terrace at night, he used the blues, cool blues, and the warm oranges, and the greens and reds. He often used it in his portraits and natural scenes, like the landscape with the house and plowman. So here we can see the use of a lot of greens and red shades. Going on to the symbolism of color, Van Gogh's colors were not random. They often carried a symbolic meaning related to his personal struggles and emotional states. So in his painting, The Sunflower, here yellow represented hope, life, and warmth, whereas blue represented melancholy, peace, and introspection, whereas green evoked both life and sickness. Going on to the colors that he used. So Van Gogh's works are known for their bold colors. He often used a limited palette by sticking to a few key colors. He was able to create harmony and balance. So the most common colors that he used were the lead white, the chrome yellow, the ultramarine blue, emerald green, and Venetian red. So he used oil colors for his paintings. Now, he used layering of colors to create depth and texture. So Van Gogh's technique of layering distinct short brush strokes allowed him to create texture and depth without blending. So now how can we replicate that technique? So first you can lay down a base color, and then next you can add short distinct strokes of another color on top without blending. So here we can see on top of blue we have added like greens and yellow short strokes, thick textured strokes. And this allows the eye to mix these strokes optically to create a beautiful depth and layering to your artwork. Next, we will see the brushstrokes that Van Gogh used. So the signature brushstrokes were the short curved dashes, like we told before. So the Van Gogh's short curved brushstrokes are synonymous with his style. So in his masterpiece like the Starry Nights, these rhythmic dashes of paints often seem to flow across the canvas, creating a movement and texture. We can use a medium round brush, number 6 or number 8, or a flat brush. Now, technique is to load the brush with thick paint directly from the tube and apply a short curved stroke in a rhythmic pattern. Follow the natural movements of your subject. Now, for colors, you can start always with a darker color on the base and the brighter colors on the top to create depth and vibrancy. Going on to the impasto technique, here are thick expressive strokes. So Van Gogh's use of impasto, applying thick paint to the canvas, gave his painting a rich tactile texture that almost jumps off the surface. So now how can we replicate it? You can use larger flat brushes, number 10 or higher, or palette knives. So load your brushes or palette knife with undiluted paint and apply it boldly, allowing the paint to form thick ridges. You can use bright warm colors like yellows, oranges and blues to capture the essence of Van Gogh's most famous work. Now coming on to the directional brush strokes, creating emotion and movement. So these are like short strokes that are created either in horizontal direction or in swirling patterns to create a sense of motion. So we can use medium flat brush for directional control. As for the technique, like for calm scenes, you can use these horizontal strokes, whereas for dynamic scenes, you can use swirling or diagonal stroke to create a sense of motion. For color, you can use dark and light shades to enhance the movement of your painting. So here we can see how the dark blues in the background highlighted by the light blues and the yellows. Going on to the dots and dashes, they are to add texture. So for finer details like foliage, grass or other natural textures, Van Gogh used small dots and dashes to build intricate layers. Now how can we replicate this style? So you can use small round brushes number 2 and number 4 for precision technique. You can apply small dots or dashes closely together. Here we can see the small dashes and the small dots together to create texture. This technique works well for depicting grass or leaves. Now colors, you can use a variety of greens, yellows and brown to mimic the nature's colors. Going on to the expressive line work is mainly to outline the shapes. So some of Van Gogh's paintings, he added visible outlines to his figures and landscape, giving his subject a defined structural appearance. So here we can see the lines. Now how can we replicate this? You can use finer brushes for delicate, precise line. You can paint bold, continuous outlines around the trees or buildings or figures. These outlines should feel expressive and organic, not rigid or overly controlled. Now the colors, you can use darker colors like blacks, browns and deeper blues. Going on to the painting process, I've shared a detailed PDF guide in the resource section along with links to painting process which you can access and take your time and learn the process. For a quick review, I have explained it in these pictures. So first you can give a darker blue background and divide the landscape. Then moving on, we can add in the swirling elements, followed by the highlights with the yellows of the stars and the moon. Then you can start adding the short signature brushstrokes of Van Gogh with lighter shades and build in more highlights. Finally, you can build up the foreground with the darker shades and create a shadow effect. So this is just a quick overview, but for more details, please do refer the resource section where you have video guides too. What is our learning activity? It is to create a Van Gogh inspired artwork. I will share a few steps to help you create your very own Van Gogh inspired artwork. So first you can choose a subject. It could be a landscape or a starry skies or sunflowers or self-portrait. Next, you lightly sketch using a pencil to outline the key elements. Next, you select your colors. Go for bright, bold and contrasting hues like yellows, blues and greens. Then use short expressive strokes and that can mimic Van Gogh's signature brushwork. Now layer your paint, build up texture with impasto, like the thick textural paint application like we already saw. Then swirl or blend to create movement by swirling colors together. You can add emotion, let your brushstrokes express energy and feeling. Now the final step, take a step back, Adjust the contrast and sign your final masterpiece. Now, these are a few reference images that you can use to create your very own Van Gogh inspired artwork. Now, I've shared all of these resources and I'll be sharing these steps in the resource section. So do go have a look and create your masterpiece. So visualize what you want to do, plan how you're going to do it, and implement and create your masterpiece. Now, don't forget to share your artwork in our WhatsApp group for review. So congratulations on completing the masterclass. You embraced bold strokes, vibrant colors, and freedom of expression, just like Van Gogh. Keep experimenting, trust your creativity, and remember, art is about feeling, not perfection. Keep painting, let your unique style shine through. So I'd like to conclude by stating a sentence by Van Gogh. I want to touch people with my art. I want them to say, he feels deeply, he feels tenderly. So as artists, let's try to bring our emotion onto the canvas. So take care, and I hope to see you in the other lessons.